focus. They've got a hard carry that they scale down in bottom lane. They did that very successfully in game number 1. We'll see if they can do that again in game 2.
All right, well, first thing I can tell you straight away is that we do have the exact same ban order coming through initially. We've got Zeri taken away, Nico taken away. That was all fair in love and war, essentially, for these two teams. Milio taken away again. It's pretty much the same kind of veto process that we saw initially.
And it looks like it is also going to be blue and red side identical to that last game as well. So Milio going to be the second ban here. That was the third one in their first draft phase. Yuumi is going to be the third option you would expect from them unless they want to mix it up in that ban. And Vi as well. Makes a lot of sense. So my question here, right, is if we assume that the bans go the exact same, is the Maokai still a slammable first pick? Now that you know that Hung can play the Nautilus and you effectively operate the same way, and the answer to that is let's change up our ban phase before we even get there. Aphelios going to be taken away instead of the Yuumi, which does leave that up.
Yep. Aphelios was banned last game, but it was in the second rotation. So what's the response going to be from Team China? Just get rid of Yuumi. So
Leaves open the Draven though.
It does. That's the only real sticking point here, I suppose, out of the initial discussions. I mean, Nico gone, Vi gone, Zeri, Yuumi both gone. That was very much the same as game 1. Jace taken away by, you would presume, by Faith to go into Shanks in the mid lane.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know, have a crack, see what you can do. Bit more of a standard pick than the Tristana.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, Jace is just a good pick all around. All around in the sense that he's very good in mid lane, and not a lot of lanes actually handle him or can deal with him quite well. However, Team China on the other side here, very easy to see that the Maokai is something that they can then pick for themselves. Very high priority towards this pick themselves, and the Cassante goes immediately with it. You would expect to be locked in there. And very dangerous duo straight out of the gate here, right? That's a top laner and that's a jungler that is cemented as super powerful, demanding respect, and the Cassante can get backline access very easily. The Maokai can set up these plays with flank ultimates that slowly force you into positions that could work really nicely for the rest of Team China.
Yeah, so what do you do here as Team Macau China, right? You've already seen the top lane pick. We saw last draft the Cassante picked by Team China, and then instantly in the next ban phase they got rid of the Gwen, so maybe is that an option? Is that something that Team Macau China wants to go towards, or are they going to leave the top pick for after another couple of bans?
I mean, this is definitely an AP top laner once again of a requirement here from Team Macau China, so you could even consider the Gwen in the first 3, right? You could for sure. Gragas to me is the very logical choice out of all of them. Because you can play AP-oriented Gragas in top lane. You can play it in mid lane as well if you need to put that Jace top. So I like this draft a lot more from Team Macau China. This makes a whole lot more sense to me.
Bit more standard.
Yeah, very standard, very meta. And now from this position, they get to pick what is in their minds their favorite. Have we just got nameplate switched, man?
It sort of feels like maybe that might be the case. Shanks opting for the Trist. I suppose, you know, you can flex that mid and bot, which does give that element of doubt to Team Macau China.
God, that would be funny if I'm saying this is standard and that's because they've switched.
They've switched and they've just, yeah.
I mean, Trist is good. Trist can be really good. It's one of those lanes where Shanks just had such a strong handle on Faith in the 1v1, and any kind of jungle or gank attempts were just completely gone. But it was also one of those situations where the Nautilus had put the Maokai so far down it was hard to be successful, especially if Hung was there to get those counter games off. And I think this Nautilus ban confirms which side of the map is on, and nameplate are in fact working.
That's good. That's a good sign.
The Nautilus is taken away. Rakan and Lulu, I think, very good responses here, however, from Team China, getting rid of those enchanters. And with the Jinx gone, Aphelios already gone, and Trist picked. Not a bad decision to look towards a bottom lane champion right here and kind of make a strong lane for yourself.
Okay. Lucian picked up, so that pretty much locks in. Well, I mean, does it lock in Tristana in mid? Or are we likely to still see Lucian in the mid lane at some point?
No, this basically confirms that Lucian's going to be 80 carry. Waiting to see what goes with it, however. We've seen Lucian with most of those enchanters that are banned away. One of the remaining options is the Yuumi. As an Ezreal, Nami gets picked in to deny the only other enchanter that goes with it. interesting response here from Macau China. Instead of saying, you take it and we'll do something better. This is one of those funny situations, Elfish Guy, where we often don't want to take away the Nami and you would rather have a strong lane yourself.
Yeah.
Now you've taken it away. You've actually opened the floor to the response to a Nami steal, which is the Sona. Janna's Sona from Iwandi.
It is a very interesting, it's always one of those interesting discussion points, right? Because even in the last draft, we were kind of saying, this is, okay, it was a bit weird maybe from Team Macau China, but Team China playing very, very standard. And then in that 5th pick, they go for the Janna. Again, in this case, it was looking pretty standard across the board, and then boom, out comes the Sona, out comes an Ezreal Nami bot lane right on the back end of the draft, and well, we throw caution to the wind. A lot of poke options in this composition though for Team Macau China, so if they can find a way to get ahead early, the Jace and the Ezreal, especially with the Nami buffs as well, are going to start to become a little bit annoying, let's just say, depending on how strong they are. They can get really annoying or just really oppressive. And some shorter range champions coming through for Team China, especially earlier on in the game before the Tristana really starts to ramp up. That could definitely be an avenue of attack for Team Macau China. I want to see what they're going to be able to bring to the table, but I think they have to be leading from the front of this game.
Yeah, they would definitely want to generate those leads. I mean, right now you're looking at, like you said, a very good poke-oriented composition, but they also have pretty good mobility with that Ezreal putting down damage. The Wukong and the Gragas can find really good engage angles themselves as well with the Cask and the Cyclone. So they've got tools, more than just poke. I think it's about throwing the Jace, throwing the Ezreal at them early, and then finding the engage after once you build their health bars down just a little bit. But the natural enemy to that poke is a Sona that exists on the other team. And Iwandi is going to be sitting there with Sona just W mashing, and your poke is not going to be as meaningful unless you can convert that into something else. The longer that poke exists, and you miss a skill shot, suddenly they're back to full health.
Yeah, I mean, as far as engage options as well for Team Macau China, I'm not going to say it's limited necessarily, because that's not, I don't think, a fair thing to say, but Wukong, Gragas sometimes can feel like they're not the easiest to get the perfect engage with. They're not like a point and click, they're not a Vi, for example. You're not just going to get right on top of the person that you want to, so you do need to be working through that a little bit as well. So let's see how this one works out. Obviously, we do still have a lot of questions as we jump into Game 2 of Road to Asia Games 2022. It is Team Macau China up against Team China. And currently the scoreline, Team China 1, Team Macau China 0. And, Team Macau China hoping to fight for their lives in this series, in this game. And already, hasn't started ideally. Hope going to have to take a base and might even be cancelled on that.
Yeah, Rico going to be cancelled there. Has got the Nami nearby. Can start W if required anyway. And we'll just go back to base. Talking about this lane as well, Lucian's gone for press the attack. So it's not going to be the first strike. It's going to be very high single target damage. Also has the Ignite himself. So instead of going for a cleanse or an exhaust, a heal, the Sona takes the heal. He goes for the Ignite. Lucian in this lane is the one dashing forwards. So that makes a lot of sense. And this is also one of those lanes where if you're not super careful as Sea Lion, you're done. You just get engaged on and you are absolutely taken out by damage, right? There's no crowd control that's going to be an issue in a Lucian and a Sona lane, but bubbles can be dodged. Your health bar can hit 0 instantly, especially at level 6.
Yeah, that's going to be the turning point, especially for this bot lane, if it doesn't already start to fall out of control. Team China, good early start. Just sit inside that bush, get a bit of free damage across, force the pot already to get popped by Sea Lion, and it puts you behind already. They've got the advantage in terms of the creep wave as well, so could see Hope and Iwandi looking for an early level 2 engagement, but maybe just a little bit over-eager on that exchange.
Yeah, trying to get some damage down before they actually procced over to level 2. Maybe they had kill threat, but they missed the dash forwards. Not quite after the trade that they were looking for. Quick check-in as well with these junglers. NH is going to try and dodge Vision, dodges his Raptor camp, and you can see that Hung is going to ping on my way to that. So it's going to be a bit of vertical jungling, perhaps an extra camp in advantage here for the Macau and for Team China. And that moves him towards the bottom side of the map as well, and this is a place with action.
Yeah, it is going to be a messy lane. Both of the supports very, very squishy. I mean, what you were saying, of course, about Nami being able to get blown up there, Sea Lion needing to be careful. I think, you can say the same thing really about Iwandi. If a bubble connects onto a Sona, Yeah, well, I suppose maybe you can get away with being behind some creep waves and stuff like that, make it a bit more difficult for the Ezreal to convert upon that damage, but obviously Sona a very, very squishy champion as well, and up in the top lane we get to see some early action. Cube might be forced to flash, but even if he does, will he get away? One last auto would have been nice, but NH cannot get that through. And Cube, once again, just playing those limits.
And NH as well, not sure on the cooldowns of Zoe. Just tanks 2 turret shots to say, if you want to go for this blood, I've got your back. But they're not going to be able to convert on that one. Bubble gets missed in the bottom lane as well. Ignite down.
Oh, that's not looking good for Ho. He's low, ticking away, and burns to a crisp in the end. First blood this time will go the way of Team China. And I'd say maybe second blood will follow it fairly shortly because Hung has come down in this direction. C-Line isolated, does have the flash, but I'm not sure how much room that's going to provide for you when you're stuck under tower, and does not even opt to use it, which is fair enough in my opinion.
And perfect aggro switch there as well. Iwandi tanks it up on the Sona, hits the DPS to kick this one off. You'll see the replay one more time. This first kill that goes on the hole, I feel like they were looking at C-Lion and he just steps forward thinking, I'll get a press the attack proc, and bam, gone. Immediately gets bursted, gets ignited. Even if he survived, Hung was there. And then Iwandi comes through, presses Q, makes sure the aggro is on him, and focuses on dodging the bubble. And just gets out perfectly timed, making sure no third turret shots would connect. Well done by Team China.
Yeah, once again, you got Faith playing under tower, out of mana as well, which is never a fun place to be as a Jace. It's going to be really tough to clear these waves. Shanks can just continue to shove in, get those E's down on the tower, start slamming through some plates. Already this game is looking actually a little bit more dominant for Team China than the previous.
Yeah, and this is a devastating mid lane as well, right? Like, talk about how aggressive this bottom lane has been. Last game, it was Faith on the Tristana, and he was behind in his 1v1. This time on the mirror matchup on the other side, he is still behind. Shanks on the Tristana is now pulling very far ahead. You know, more than 2 waves of CS almost at this point. Devastating stuff here for Macau, China. Good little gank still from the Wukong very early on into the game, but the level of success that each gank got initially on the cross map, significantly better for Team China.
Well, Faith has been able to find that reset. Shanks was able to as well, both opting to invest their teleport early. Just get back to lane, make sure they're not missing any creeps. Starting to see Hung once again get interested in his opponent's jungle. This has been very much a trademark of him as an individual in this engagement. Trying to put as much pressure onto NH early. Just doesn't seem like you can go anywhere as this Wukong without being spotted.
Exactly right. Saplings in a bush. Scryer's blooms to be hit as well. Very tough life to be this Wukong. Process of elimination kind of shows exactly where he's going to be regardless. And the Drake, I feel like, could even be on the cards here for Team China, depending on that priority in bottom lane. Where Hung can go for the blue buff, has his Gromp to go back towards after all of this time as well. He's taken everything away from the Wukong and now gets to kind of reap what he has sown.
Oh, here goes Faith. Going to go try and have a crack at Shanks, who will just force the ult out and force Faith away, but I like to see that sort of positive approach still from Team Macau China.
Absolutely. I love the attempted trade. I mean, it's going to do wonders for him overall, affording a free reset in a losing situation. Also must be said that while things don't look too great just for now for Team Macau China, they have 2 tier stacking champions. They are still trying to scale up into this game, get that 1-item spike. But they've got to get there, and this is rough.
Yeah, rough indeed, and it's just bullying the bot lane again from Team China. It's just so easy. It looks so easy, at least from them. Once again, another double kill down to the bot side of the map. This time, you know, 2-2 split in terms of the kills. Couple going over to Hong, couple going over to Hope. I think that's fair enough. Everyone involved is happy. Yeah,
why not? Everybody gets a kill, the support gets assists. Everybody wins, everyone achieves their main purpose. 2-0-2 scoreline on this Lucian just ticks over to 6 here as well. And you thought that trade was good. You wait till they now have the culling thrown in with that one.
I don't think they need it at this point.
I don't think they need it.
But I tell you what, this is a much more clean game from Team China.
Yeah, and it's Hope that goes forwards, right? Hits the Ignite as per the strategy. You have the Sona that sits back and just allows the DPS, supports the team, and enables the DPS from Illusion as well with that Q buff. Oh, hello.
Okay, this is not looking too good for Tsui. You'll have to flash out. Cube lets him go.
That was a lot of distance. He covered with that all-out mode when he activated that one. Cube almost got him stuck, but I think thankfully for Zoe, he was next to the wall just enough that he could flash himself to safety. If there was a body block there, it could be a different story. Hope now pressuring a bot lane. Nice bubble.
Very nice bubble, actually.
Oh, he's just E'd forwards.
Yeah, that might be a mistake. The culling does come through, but luckily there's a creep wave to tank most of it. As far as trades are concerned, that's actually about as good as it's been for Ho and Sea Lion.
It has been good for now, right? NH is here, but he's about to see that 2 members of Team China are in response. This will be a 3v4. Yep. Teleport's not available for either top laner just yet. Let's see how this execution goes, though. Hung with the saplings, could find members. And actually does spot them. Faith moving down is what they were afraid of.
It looks like we're all just going to walk away from one another again. This Lucian already starting to get pretty oppressive.
I mean, they did just get the dash out of it. So this is actually a situation where NH could consider going for the flash engage himself. But it's just teetering on the edges. No one really willing to overcommit themselves or go for something crazy except for that.
Yeah, and that is the exact scenario you were talking about, where if the bubble misses and Sea Lion overextends, Hope and I1D just able to blow him up, and there's nothing to really be done.
Yeah, and the question remains on that bubble. Why were you even bothering?
What does it? Yeah, what does it achieve even if it does connect?
You've got junglers fighting around the outskirts of this fight, right? And they were really the key factors, but then ultimately a single mistake in the lane itself, and Hope and I1D, with no hesitation, will be able to capitalize on that one and get themselves another kill. This time the support's able to snipe that one out, because that's what Sonas can do. And things go from bad to worse with NH having spent time down here, right? The truth is that Hung is not upset. He's fine. He doesn't actually have to participate. He just needs to stop NH from getting ganks off, and they're winning 2v2. It is the Wukong that feels worse for Wear as well, because he's dedicated that time to not winning somewhere else.
Kraken Slayer's been finished off as well for Hope, so that's just an extra little bit of damage on top of what was already getting dumped in on top of these guys. So, I mean, I think when you sort of see these sorts of items start to get completed, and you're already in an awkward spot in that lane, then you're starting to get a little bit scared. E comes out from the Sona. I1D lets Hope do his thing. He target focus onto the Ezreal, but changes it over, and there is indeed that Kraken Slayer proc ultimate through as well. And this is a lane where you literally are not even allowed to play the game anymore. Yeah,
this lane is over. They have to consider other options, such as a roaming Nami. Right? How are you actually going to continue to play the rest of this game out when they can just, in your face, throw their abilities out mid-fighting?
Yeah, indeed. Faith just able to boop Shanks away. Tristol is still available, so need to be a little bit careful when you are starting to get to half HP or below.
This will be a 1v1 if it does take place right now. The Jace can move and actually influence this one, but Cube also is between turrets. Meanwhile, the bottom lane turret is gone.
Well, NH level 6 up against Cube level 9. I'm not sure how I feel about that one right now, and that is exactly what I'm talking about. He just gets bursted out of the fight, has to exit now, eating, oh no, all that damage from the Maokai sapling, finishing him off. Faith chiming in as well, but that is not for the good reasons, and Sea Lion out as well. It is just utter dominance. We were talking about maybe Macau can stave off the perfect game. I think perhaps we spoke too soon.
Yeah, we're definitely staring at a potential perfect game here from Team China. Fantastic teamfight execution as well from Cube. Find his angle. And like you highlighted, the level difference was quite terrifying at the forefront of that skirmish. And you could see how much damage that he was able to do as that actually broke out. Plates in mid as well. It is going from bad to worse in this game, and there is, 11 minutes in, you're starting to see no real glimmers of hope or ways through to get a scaling fight or composition. You have to throw 5 people at them and hope that you find an advantageous fight.
Yeah, I don't know. You're talking about like maybe a 5-man Nami bubble into the 5-man Cyclone, something like that, but the reality is that's just not going to happen against Team China. Rift Herald dropped in the top lane as well. You've got the incredibly strong bot laners from Team China up here as well, and they are just looking to farm up more and more cash.
And this fight starts with the Wukong trying to get over the wall. There was, in theory, a numbers advantage. They had 5 seconds to work with until Shanks got here. But so much damage was done to NH that he was effectively rendered useless in the fight. Cube with the flash after his dash forwards as well to bring them back with the Turco strikes. So cleanly done from this Cassante, and enables the kills to come through from Shanks on this Tristan.
Most definitely. Faith and Sea Lion in a spot of bother here. Tidal Wave does go past, but it gets forced out again, and this is the situation you find yourself in as Team Macau China, right? You see an opponent on your screen, you are forced to ultimate, you are forced to flash or do whatever you need to do to get away because of the strength that these guys have got. And you're, maybe pulling the trigger a little bit too early and giving up some important cooldowns.
So presently, I feel like the biggest thing that they can look towards is shutdowns, right? More than anything else, there's the difficulty for Team Macau China is everyone has a shutdown and it's a smaller amount. There's no singular point of power that you can put all of your emphasis and efforts towards. So this game becomes, find someone in the side lane, find a split push. It probably has to be Shanks on the Tristana, and just find money, get money through them, generate some kind of advantage where there otherwise is none.
Well, we talked about the roaming Nami being a thing. I wouldn't say it's exactly where I like to go as a support when I'm playing Nami, but you don't really have too many options.
Making money.
2 players spotted on the top side is going to give Team China the comfort to start the Dragon.
Comfort to start it through vision as well. Shank's going to be pushing in bottom lane and should just be able to move up here to secure any kind of contest from Macau China should be gone. This mid lane outer turret is going to be the next port of call for Team China. They should be looking towards this one. And the strength of Hope and Iwandi means that Hole can't stay here by himself. Just starts to naturally fall.
Oh, well. Ooh, does he get out of here alive?
Lethal.
It is. I mean, and we're at that point of the game, right, aren't we? Where we're just... it's not even a big deal anymore. It's kind of just a standard day at the office for Team China. Another kill onto the Ezreal. Nami's down in the meanwhile as well, and well, Cube, maybe there's an angle here, but the rotation is starting to come through for Team China. So Tui and NH, have they bitten off more than they can chew? The culling is enough, even though there was a creep wave there. Tui gets some good damage onto Hope and Faith. You've got to send it at this point. You've got to go for it just to try to deny the perfect game. It was close, but not enough. And still, there is a donut next to Team Macau China.
Faith still hunting, but there is Hug nearby. Tidal Wave's out.
I'm not sure what that's going to achieve, unfortunately, because there's not much of a follow-up. Sea Lion looks okay for now, but how not there to really have an impact, and hasn't even finished off the first item there on that Ezreal, so might not have even were he there.
Yeah, living on a hope and a prayer here is the side of Macau China. Cube comes forwards. Note that at this point in the game, there is no inner turret in top lane. That's how far they've been able to push. They try and engage. But every single time they try and engage, there's just so much distance that the K'Sante can cover that they're not doing DPS at the same time. The reinforcements will come through, and Hope goes crazy as far forwards as he possibly can. And full respect to Faith for trying to get.
I agree.
Absolutely.
That's 100% me if I'm in that situation. I know I'm not going to get much out of this, but if I go 1-for-1, that's more worth it to me than it is for them at that point in the game, I think.
Yeah. Also, just to say that it's not a perfect game, but exactly. I mean, ultimately doesn't get the kill. Bubble doesn't connect, and Sea Lion as well can't provide anything for his team. This is, again, one of those situations. You've picked the Nami, you've denied it, and look what they can do in response.
Surely there's got to be one in there for them somewhere. Hung, has he been caught out? No, Flash is available. Now teleport coming through, and it starts to look like Team Macau China that are in trouble. Cube arrives, and look at that. In the blink of an eye, the Lucian triple kill comes through. Shanks does not want to stop, and from downtown, cool guys don't look at explosions. Shanks grabs another.
And they just continue to push down the mid lane now, barreling down middle. They'll get the tower. And just like last game, we'll see if they consider to not go for this inhibitor. This time I think they will. Far enough ahead that they can pretty much do whatever they would like here. And they're not worried about giving extra gold into their opponent's pockets by any means. Multiple inhibitors here to fall, and I feel like we are looking at a potential pre-20-minute game.
I would say you might be right. Are they even thinking about finishing it right here and now? I can tell you Cube certainly is. Iwandi looked like he wanted to move away, but the rest of the team has stuck around, and so the fight will continue. There's another one straight onto the Wukong. 20-0 right now. Sea Lion will drop for 21, and the number continues to bloom for Team China. Still nothing, no success at all for Team Macau China.
Got 5 minions to work with on the top side of the map, maybe 6 there, trying to zone them away, but the supers starting to crash down middle, and Team China, they want to end here and now.
Yeah, damage onto that second and final Nexus turret. starts to come through, and this pretty much looks like it's going to be exactly what we hoped it would not be. The perfect game for Team China to finish off Team Macau China 2-0 in the opening match of the Road to Asia Games 2022.